like you're caught in a world you don't belong to, praying that you'll make it home. I know you're scared that the place you love is gone. Don't fear what you do not know. Feel like you're caught in a world you don't belong to, praying that you'll make it home. I know you're scared that the place you love is gone. Don't fear what you do not know. won't you come over? Dying to know where you came from. We're breaking open. Feel like our future's just begun. And all I know is that we lost time. If we stay right here, we could free ourselves inside. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together. Just lead me into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's
Welcome to our Rocket League show match for today with the wonderful professional team, Team Liquid, going up against Rochester Institute of Technology's own Rocket League team. I'm Renessa, and I am joined by Trevor, or Confused Caribou. Trevor, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited for some Rocket League action. Excited to see what Team Liquid and RIT are going to bring to the table, and I'm just really happy to be here.
All right. Well, our match today is brought to you by SMPTE, which we want to ask, are you curious about the media technology that it takes to actually run an esports tournament? So if you are, you can go to go.simpte.org/esports. That is SMPTE, to access free videos and slides from all of their esports sessions for SMPTE 2020. So again, it is go.simpte.org/esports. So that is who's bringing us this. This is a really exciting show match for me, right? I
Yeah,
mean, can you imagine back in college and you're sitting there and you're playing for your collegiate team and your coach comes in and says, "Hey, are you ready to play against Team Liquid?"
yeah. Like, wait, like the team, like professional
Yeah,
team, like
yeah.
back. Yeah, when I was in college, it was just a real small kindling of an esports program. It was like 10, 12 people that got together and like, hey, I like video games. Do you like video games too? Like, we should play some time, and that's really about it. So to see and have something like this opportunity come up for RIT and for everyone involved is it's pretty big, and it says a lot about where esports is.
Well, and that's when you think about the offerings, the options that we have for games now. When I got into esports, I was looking at, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 titles that people would have known and talked about. So, for those of you who don't know, now, Trevor, do you know the name of the predecessor that came before Rocket League? It's impossible to say or remember, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is.
So Rocket League was originally Supersonic Astro Rocket Power something. I think people just call it SARP because it was so long and impossible to say. And that's what I played back in high school. I'm going to date myself a little bit there. And we didn't have Rocket League when I was in college. Now, Rocket League, fortunately, is very easy to understand, makes it a great esport. So, for
Yeah,
those of you out there, Trevor, what are our basics? Okay, what's the easiest thing to compare Rocket League
soccer with cars is the easiest
to?
way to
Yeah.
to put it in there. That's really all there is to it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's a lot of the same basic fundamentals. You want to set up your passing plays and have the efficiency to move the ball around, to get through the defense and try to set up, good attacks, and then on have to worry about on transition as well, going from offense to defense and vice versa. So, in the simplest of terms, to put it in a traditional sports perspective, soccer, but with RC cars.
Yeah, and cars that they get to boost and they get to go fast. So why
Yeah,
there are soccer video games out there, why would people play Rocket League instead of something like a FIFA, which is straight up soccer? What makes this game unique other than the cars? All right, you hit it with
right.
car instead of feet. What else we got going on that's cool?
So there's a little bit, as opposed to a full 11 on 11, you can have just a one-on-one type game mode. You can have 2v2s, 3v3s. So it's a lot smaller and it's a significantly smaller field. So you have a lot less to work with. And you're also in an arena, have the ability to
Mm-hmm.
play a three-dimensional space on all three axes so that you can play the ball out of the air, play it off the wall, play it off the ceiling even, and do everything that you need to do to get the ball from one place to the next. And a lot of the players at the high skill cap are able to take the ball
Mm-hmm.
from one side of the field to the other end, all in the air without even touching the ground.
And that's so I've been learning, more and more about Rocket League over the last few months, especially after it went free to play. And
Yeah,
it is that game has exploded in player base. It's very, very popular. And I've been watching the casting and I have heard some interesting terms like, a musty flick. And let me tell you, that sounds like old cereal and not a move. So when people hear you casting, if you pull out any of those terms, where do they come from?
a lot of it's just from, players that, I mean, you look at any traditional, I mean, you look at with the Hail Mary, from the old Boston
Mhm.
College days, Doug Flutie did it. And, a lot of it comes from, players and previous people that, that kind of made it their mark. And it became a thing that people started to just name after players, name after that. And then the same thing for commentators, commentators put it in the point of, something just happens, the way they're saying it, and it's catchy and players stick with it. And it comes to a point of that just becomes the accustomed phrasing for whatever that move is. So there's a handful of those. I mean, you get the musty flicks, you get the flip resets, you get the pinches, and all this in-game terminology all these players use that it just crosses over into the commentary side. But people that don't watch it wouldn't have any idea. But it's very kind of simplistic. We try to keep it as simple as we can, but sometimes these players, they just come up with the weirdest of names.
Okay, well that's fair. I mean, I guess Musty. I would say can't help that his name is Musty, but he
Yeah.
did in gaming. We pick our names, so we can't really give him that one. But that's not the players we have today. So if we want to pull up, like we said, this is a show match between Team Liquid and RIT. We're gonna dive into Team Liquid first, who just had a roster change. So we're going to give you some like fresh, hot off the presses information about that. But in general, Team Liquid is this incredible esports organization. Have you ever used Liquipedia? You ever pop onto that website?
All the time.
Yeah. Liquipedia is the mainstay for anybody that follows or works in esports. It just covers every single thing. And that's part of this Team Liquid franchise. They have won the international with players taking home millions of dollars in Dota 2 titles. They've done incredibly well in League of Legends. They've had CSGO, they've had Fortnite, they've had Rainbow Six, they have Valorant, and obviously they have Rocket League. They're just one of the core names in esports. So it's just so exciting. And like I said, I'm jealous, like I wish why couldn't my college team had gotten to play against a pro team of this caliber?
Right.
So there's 3 people on a Rocket League roster. So we can show you the first player for Team Liquid is Fruity. So he's 24 years old. He is Danish. And he has been around Rocket League since it came out. So, he started playing just a few months after its release. And he really wants to be crowned a world champion. So he's done really well at DreamHack. He's kind of one of the OGs, one of the, the original names of the scene, and is a really strong player here for Team Liquid. And then also on the team, I believe, is Speed. And so this guy, he started out season 1 on the PlayStation. Now, let me tell you something about Rocket League. Rocket League is incredibly reliant on really high refresh rates. And PlayStation is not going to come close to a PC. So Speed being as good as he is, with that early console start, just shows you how dedicated he's been to learning, improving, and absolutely dominating at this game. So you're going to see he's going to impress you. And then there's one player that, like I said, this roster change happened yesterday. So we don't have a pretty slide for you, but Ronicky was recently, so FC Barcelona, a big soccer football club, depending on where you're watching from, had a Rocket League team, and the players the players left and went to different teams, and Ronicky ended up in Team Liquid, and I believe that was confirmed yesterday with a new coach for them, confirmed today as well. But he is coming from a team that was, sitting top 8 in the RLCS, was doing really well. So they're new to playing together. This might be our first time actually getting to see this Team Liquid roster play, because I don't know if they played in RLCS today. So at least for me, it's my first time watching them play, which is very cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see, kind of see where they're at with the synergy, see if they're in sync with each other yet. But, as you mentioned, it would have been really cool back in college days if, the coach or the sponsor, whoever walked in and said, hey, by the way, guys, you got got a match against this major esports organization, and you can't give enough credit to what Team Liquid have done across the board, regardless of the title that they play in. I mean, they've seen massive amounts of success regardless of what game they're competing in. And they're just becoming an iconic name that is, if they're not already, one of the greatest of all time as an esports organization. But, you talk on the other side, the Scholastic side, you talk about RIT, showing up here in the competition here today. And I mean, these guys, the college scene is a huge scene for some of these up and coming players. And it's really exciting to be able to watch these. And a lot of the commentary that I get to do is in and around the high school and college scene. And it's incredible to see the levels of talent. And had I known when I was their age, if this was an opportunity, an option that, by the way, put the time in, put the effort in, get really good at something, and it's going to become an actual career opportunity for you moving down the line, I couldn't imagine where I'd be, but here I am 18 years later,
here
and I'm
you
not
are
doing that.
You're casting Team Liquid. You're casting the future hopefuls. You're casting, these RIT players. They could be Rocket League pros. Here's the beautiful thing about Rocket League. The way you explained it, it's soccer with cars. But the great thing about that is it's easy for people to understand. It's something you're familiar with, and it's easy to throw yourself into it. It's just so engaging and fun. It's hard. I will admit, I could not hit the ball at all when I was trying to play because I foolishly play wirelessly, and there's this little bit of lag, and it's really hard to play. So yeah, you definitely have to put the time in. But this game's a little newer. This esports a little newer. It's not CS:GO, it's not Counter-Strike, which just had its 20th birthday last week. It's a little newer, right? So like you could pick it up. Come on. A Confused Caribou is 5 years, Team Liquid. I want to be casting you. Please let me say that name while I'm casting. It might be the greatest gamer tag I've seen yet.
You got a long ways to go before we have any shot of me being on Team Liquid, or there's no way we can get to that point. But like I said, the opportunity that these guys at RIT are getting, and we can do some introductions with them as well. The fact that they are here and to compete against Team Liquid, which is an incredible honor, just to be able to say, by the way, we played Team Liquid, and imagine how they'd feel at the end of the day. So we go ahead and take a look at some of the players here for RIT, starting out with Bean here. He's a third-year applied math major, right? So, I mean, all these guys going to college are going to do typical collegiate kids stuff. They listen to music, they watch Netflix, and they play video games in their free time, but they're also really good at this. And a lot of them are all really close to graduation. So being an applied mathematics major here outside of just doing that, I mean, playing Rocket League, also play Apex and OSU, which means this guy's got really good aim, because anyone that plays the shooter games and plays OSU as well has incredible aim and an incredible tracking with what they do, with whether it be controller, mouse, and keyboard, or what have you. So looking to see what he's going to be able to do here today. And I mean, these guys, there's a reason they're playing against Team Liquid, right? So they have a pretty good shot here. Moving on to our second player, we can take a look at Sunblaze, game design and development here, third year again as well, getting ready to graduate here pretty soon, I would imagine. And again, another competitive player here in the Rocket League scene. And a lot of this has Rocket League in general for college has a lot of notoriety up in the Northeast and the Eastern side, more so than the West Coast of the United States. So the fact that a lot of these guys, knowing that they play at a high MMR, high ELO, are going to be playing against a lot of really competitive players. So expecting to see some really good things out of these players. I mean, outside of playing, when it was free in 2015 for PlayStation Plus members, that's that time and effort, give it 5-10 years down the road. Someplace here we are competing against Team Liquid. So excited to see what Sunblaze is going to do today. And the last one, but not least, Josh V here, the 5th year software engineering major, which also brings a little bit of the aspect into, looking for your careers outside of just playing competitively. You have a lot more behind the scenes as well that you can do. And whether just outside of doing this, and I can imagine how difficult a software engineering degree is, outside of just doing your homework, your schoolwork, etc., being proficient at an esport, as well as finding time to balance the rest of your socializing, the rest of your sleep schedule, because we all know college students don't have a good sleep schedule. As we certainly didn't when we were going through, but these guys managing to balance it all out from left to right, top to bottom, and have put themselves in this position now where they're going to be competing against Team Liquid's Rocket League team, and just 3 kids at this point. I can say that, which it kind of sounds weird that, I am older than all these guys. There's 3 kids that are coming in and be playing against Team Liquid today. So I'm excited to see what RIT is going to do, put in the spotlight like this.
Yeah, I think it's a fun opportunity. I think that it's going to be entertaining for us. And I was thinking about when I'm looking at all these profiles for these players, they all say that they really enjoy music. We've got 2 people with music in their profile. We've got someone who says that they love playing Osu. What kind of music, people? All right, these are the important. I can't just sit here. I need to know what they're blasting while they're playing in their match today. Okay, Rocket League has a great soundtrack. By the way, there's some really, really cool EDM artists that are gamers that love playing games, and then Rocket League Psyonix actually reached out to them and put their music into the game. So is that what they like listening to? Do they have some metal blasting? Yeah, are they listening to the orchestral or classical music to keep them calm under stress? Like what would be your go-to? What's your guess of what they're going to play while they play Rocket League? Or do you think they can't have music on?
I feel like they're just going to put something on in the background and they're not even going to listen to it, because that's typically what a lot of us do. We just put music on and don't even realize the music is still really going for anything. There's sound, but we don't really recognize that it's there. But I mean, the fact that it's exactly what you would expect out of college kids, right? Hey, what's your favorite kind of food? I don't know. Well, what kind of music you like? It depends on the day.
Hey, some people just love music, though.
Something to work with. True.
That is fair. Well, and so everybody has different preferences with what music they listen to, but also how they play. So Rocket League, it's only 3 players instead of 11, right? So you don't have someone sitting in goal. You don't have a whole offensive and defensive side of things.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that players don't orient themselves into certain roles. So if you could break down 2 or even 3 roles, what does a Rocket League team normally have that we're going to be looking out for to see who fills each role?
So kind of the point that you mentioned it, right? There's no actual set roles. Like, in traditional soccer, you'll have a striker, you'll have a goalkeeper. With Rocket League, especially in a 3v3 setup, it's going to be a more rotational type. So you're going to have typically 1 to 2 people that are up around on the attack, looking to play in the corners, trying to play the ball over to the middle to get the pass off, to get the shot on, and just try to maneuver around the defense that way. But if you overcommit to something and it doesn't pan out that way, and you set up a ball that gets cleared out on the other side, the person that's going to be typically sitting around midfield mark is just going to try to send it back into play in the offensive zone. And from there, maybe they can carry the ball through the air all the way up to the goal, try to play it off of a double touch, bounce it off the backboard virtually, and then hit it again. And then you'll have one of the other 2 players that are up there rotate back to around the midfield point to cover anything that might become a breakaway type scenario. So it's all about the rotations and being in communication with your team and understanding, who's supposed to be where at what time. And with enough time and place that you play with your teammates, you kind of understand that non-verbally that, okay, I'm going to go for this ball. This guy's got defense covered and we're good.
Got it. So it's not that a player will take a specific role. It's more that there are roles, but it rotates who's playing back, who's playing aggressively, who's doing the boost circling, because there's always somebody who's doing that. That's so if you aren't familiar with this, one of the things that makes Rocket League cool and special and a little different from soccer is not only do you drive around in a car, but you can, there's the rocket part of that, in that you have a certain amount of boost that zooms you forward and lets people get away with a bunch of cool tricks. Now, we do have a fun little insight for you guys that's outside of Rocket League. We're actually going to toss things over to Rob in our production studio to show you what it looks like to have a show match and a production like this even happen in the first place. Really, really pull the veil away from esports, if you will.
Well, thank you guys for the introduction. My name is Rob Gonzalez. I am the guy here on the ground with my teammate here, Carrie, to make sure that the broadcast is exceptional for everybody at home. And at home, you guys can see we've got tons of TVs and computers and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's a two-man operation here in production where we have one side of our production is the one that's going to be handling actually getting all of the casters, the sound, all of the stream up into the internet and to YouTube or to your hub, the hub that you're seeing it on. So I don't want to say that it's terribly complicated, but it's just a matter of making sure that you have the experience in making sure you know what happens when things go wrong. Because just like live television, things are always bound to go wrong, and it's just a matter of your experience to make sure that people at home don't see that stuff, right? It's just like being a caster. So we're having a good time. It is cold here, so we're making sure that we're bundled up and having a good time. But on the other side, this is where we have a separate computer that handles all of the actual game itself. And that's just so that you guys at home can have a really smooth experience when you're watching the game. So it's going to be a fun time. We also are making sure that we follow our guidelines to be safe and making sure that we wear our masks and just doing our best so that everybody can go home and be healthy. So other than that, we always are here to answer questions. So if you have questions about wanting to get started into doing esports productions, things like that, at UMG, we would love to be able to answer those questions. So we'll make sure that after the show is over, that everybody who's interested will have the ability to find out how to get more information. But again, we are ready to get some Rocket League on. So I'm going to send it back to Renessa and Trevor in the studio.
Wonderful. That was a very cool look into the studio back there. Thank you, Rob. I hope you and Carrie both stay warm with, as fall and winter approaches. I feel like I saw some Team Liquid chairs there. I don't know if they were Team Liquid specifically, but they were definitely Marvel.
They had that huge the Team Liquid Marvel crossover. I'm gonna give the shout out to that. Was one of the coolest merchandising crossovers ever. And with the esports jerseys that they did, as well as the jackets and the chairs there as well. It's that whole line that Marvel came out. Marvel's just cashing in on it, but the being able to partner up with Team Liquid right there, it was such a cool thing, and I definitely copped a couple of those jerseys.
Rob is work with him quite a bit, and he saying that he enjoyed that crossover is minimal. So it's probably the production are definitely Team Liquid fans. I will put that out there. Let's be transparent. Us as casters will keep things unbiased for you, but we can't promise that certain camera angles occasionally might favor Team Liquid. There's only so much we can do.
Yeah, that's the end of the day. Whoever's in charge of the spectator is the one that is controlling what we get to see. So it's not all on us, but.
For anyone who's ever worked in production before, you just blame production. To be fair, they control everything, so I might be about to have my mic cut. But on the other hand, what are they going to do about it? Right? Just come at me.
They're all the way over there. You're there. Yeah, no, can't do it. So that's the benefit of remote casting, is that the producer can yell at me all day long, but he can't come to my house. Probably does have my address though.
Yeah. That's true. So you have to be careful, and then when we get live events back, Rob, you're great. But I thought
Yeah.
that was I thought that was a really cool look into the back. Oh, and it looks like we have jumped into the game. So just want to
Okay.
give another shout out to the reason this is happening. If you're a media professional or enthusiast, if you want to succeed, join SMPTE, boost your career, discover the latest tech trends, and you can make friends and network all in this space. So join SMPTE as a fan. It's free. You can go to go.smpte.org/fan to become a fan of them while this offer lasts for free sign up. So that's, again, gosimpty.org/fan. Now I'm going to hand things over to Trevor here to really get our casting underway.
So as you had mentioned, the whole part of Rocket League, half of it is rockets, and all the yellow on the field is exactly what these players are looking to get, that boost so that they can move a little bit faster, move around the cabin a little more efficiently, if you will. But you can see the ball bouncing in all three axes there. Good shot there onto the left side. Looks like Team Liquid here is going to be in the orange side, and Rochester in blue, even though the I believe the scoreboard reflects opposite, but based off the names in the feed that I've seen, it's one to the other as they switch it over. But a couple shots coming out through here, and some good movement that's back and forth, trying to get these flips and the flip resets to come through. And flip resets, one of the hardest things a lot of these players are going to try to pull off, but really accentuates the attack even more so that you get more mobility and agility with the ball. But for the time being, as you would see in a lot of high-level esports play, these guys going back and forth a lot, not really getting a lot of grand opportunities here, a couple shots here and there. But besides that, it's a lot of fight for possession and looking for the first opportunity. Might have an angle.
So I just want to say the flip reset, you're talking about that adds extra mobility. What exactly does it mean to get a flip reset off? Why are players looking to do that?
So typically in the Rocket League, when you take a jump, I think it's about a 1.5 seconds or 2 second buffer. You're able to do a flip with your car, regardless of the physics and how it would literally allow you to do it. But you're able to do a flip with your car, and if your vehicle manages all four wheels to hit a surface, it then registers that in-game as a surface that you're hitting, and you're able to flip again after that. So being able to be in the air, you want to try to hit all four wheels on the ball, and then from there, you'll be able to do a secondary flip, which gives a little bit of redirection ability on the ball. And now we see our first goal coming through. RIT is going to strike first. Josh V coming in. Good little cross there, playing off the wall by himself.
That is a nice memory there. First goal scored by one of our RIT players. That's, up against Team Liquid, keeping it together, holding their cool. I'm pretty impressed with these guys right now.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. I mean, and as I mentioned, the East Coast has a lot more, I guess, notoriety for the Rocket League. There's Scholastic scene is pretty big over there, and excited to see what more is going to come out of that one. And all of a sudden, going to tie it up. Fresh face on the field. It's his first goal.
Yep. That is the new player on the team, Ronaki, wanting to prove, that he belongs on this Team Liquid. Bring things back to even.
About a minute 45 here, and this is pretty kind of on par for the pacing that we see from a lot of. And what this tells me is either these teams are getting a feel for each other, or they're very evenly matched, and potentially a bit of both. Because typically in series games, when it's your first time playing against somebody, you're kind of get a feel for how they play, get a feel for their momentum and their pacing throughout the first game. And the fact that we've gone 3.5 minutes, only had a couple goals scored each, really shows that these guys are kind of just trying to test the water, see what's going to be happening here. But continuously, Team Liquid now putting the pressure on. Had a couple of opportunities, had a couple shots that went just a little bit wide, but you hear the demolition in the background.
All right, so explain a demo for us.
Cargo boom. In the simplest of ways. It's just a lot of players will sometimes go for a little more aggressive point, whereas to physically just push the cars out of the way, and it becomes more of a demolition derby. And if they hit them at a fast enough pace at the right angle, then it will, for a while, I think it's 2 to 3 second period, cargo boom is not in play anymore, so you could potentially build some numbers advantages off of that. But a lot of the times it's more of just, please get out of my way, sending a message.
That was a close save there. That I was all ready for you to shout about another goal.
Well,
So what happens if these
30-second
teams
timer.
are 1-1 when we hit the 0 mark?
Then everybody that paid for their ticket for this gets some free Rocket League action, and we go to overtime. But at this point, the way that is shaken out here, it looks like it might be. If a timer does hit 0, which it will, typically the ball will stay in play a few seconds longer than that, because when the timer hits zeros, if it's still in the air, the game still considers the ball in play and will allow players to play off of that until it hits the ground again. But already coming into overtime from downtown, Sunblaze, 12 seconds in, it's going to get the score, and Rochester's going to take game number 1.
Impressive. So that sudden death certainly raises the stakes in in that overtime. There's no courtesy period of, oh, you scored 1, let's give you a little bit of time. It's just it's done. That's it looks like RIT did great under that pressure.
Yeah, it was a really good back and forth there between the two teams. I mean, Team Liquid and Rochester were able to pretty much match each other at pacing and kind of get, feel it out for the first 5 minutes of gameplay there. And then after that, Rochester was able to get a play off of. And that's typically, within the first 10 to 15 seconds of that face-off, the kickoff is going to be one of the most risky timetables because nobody has any boost. They can't move very fast at all. And it all goes up to the matter of, if you get first touch, can you play it off of that? Maybe you get a lucky bounce. Maybe you get something that's going to enable you to put an attack together very quickly. So getting through that first 10 to 15 seconds after the kickoff is a little risky, but right there, Sunblaze was able to capitalize for his team.
Yeah, no, that was impressive. Now, one of the things we talked about at the beginning of the show was the 3 dimensions where everybody could play. You've got me all excited about driving on the ceiling. I got to tell you, I did not see any ceiling driving.
Yeah, not a lot, really. I mean, a little bit of play off of the walls, but beyond that, I didn't see a whole lot of, players going up high. So curious to see if that's going to be something that they're going to be able to maybe adapt into in this one. But, I mean, as game number 2 gets underway, of course, there's a best of 5. So first team to win 3 of these games in this series is going to be the crowned victor of this match. But a lot of this, pretty stereotypical play to come in to play off the walls, play off the corners. But not a whole lot out of the top side of the world here. And already Speed coming in with speed and gets himself the first goal to start this game off.
He feels left out. Ronicky got the goal in the last game. He's got to establish, listen, I am on. I've been on Team Liquid longer than you. I cannot have you outscoring me.
Got to make sure that Rookie still knows who's in charge here. Even though Speed's like 19 years old or something, but that's fine.
But he's the Liquid veteran in comparison.
Right. Ooh, good save.
Yeah, I was going to say, nice block there by Sunblaze. And so they're just playing in their corner. And these little gold spots on the map, that's the boost that you're picking up. So you can see when we're on a player perspective, right, the Team Liquid player there, Fruity, just used up pretty much all of his boost with that airplay. And same for Ronicky. So he has to go get some boost, and then the other teammates, they do the rotating. I'm getting the rotating thing now. I can see this happening in live action.
Ooh, good potential right there to play that ball off the backboard and try to get a double touch, but wasn't able to do that. On the other side, good shot, better save. Sunblaze coming across. Played the hero in game number 1. Now playing hero here on the defensive side. But at this point, a lot of good opportunities on both here, just looking for someone to break that cap, to try to get that first goal scored. And again, just because they are messing with us, they have changed sides once more. So now, this time around, Rochester's in blue and Team Liquid's in orange because they just like making the job hard on the graphics department on the backside. So shout out to them.
It's fine. keeping us all on our toes. I gotta say the goaltending from RIT though. So Liquid, they're holding the ball, they're taking a lot of shots, but they're definitely. It feels like they're the ones keeping up the pressure, but RIT is really holding them out.
Yeah, and that's a thing that you can only deal with so long. When you throw so many darts at a dartboard, eventually one's going to go in. That one almost snuck in.
How did that not go in? That looked completely over the line. There it is.
Oh, and the putback. Eventually, I mean, there's the dart that hits the dartboard. They came so close to that, but I mean, with the amount of pressure put on, a lot of teams thrive off of this because once you put that pressure on the other side, you're able to then take all of the boost from the players on defense. So they really don't have a lot to try to get it clear out, and you're able to pretty much monopolize the boost for your team and then keep it all for yourself and then play off of that. So the fact that they're able to put Rochester on their heels there was eventually going to pay off, and you saw how that did work out. Now looking to see if they're going to get an answer. Not a whole lot here. Ronicky trying to take this one in the air, side to side, end to end. Get a little bit of boost back here, looking for his flip reset. Does get it, but shot a little too slow. Josh is going to be there to stop it. Now in the corner, but again, out of boost. Good touch, though. The defense is still in the way. As you mentioned it, this defense is just not letting anything go through.
I'm impressed with how consistently they're always there, and the fact that they are rotating really well to make sure that, you know, everyone on RIT has the boost that they need. Someone uses all of it for a great defense. Someone else is instantly there to fill in, defend, hold off Team Liquid while everybody else sort of tops their boost back up.
Yeah, to the point of it becomes a bit of a strategy as well. You know, we talk about the physical gameplay of demolishing your opponents. It's another point of, you know, working to see if you can steal all the boost from them as well, because if they can't move, then not a whole lot they're going to be able to do. But Fruit coming in with a huge save right there, not letting Rochester get their first goal. Now on the other side, trying to send it back, but looking for their corner play. Got to reset, get their boost. To see Fruit making the rotation all the way back to get that back boost. Just a little bit of a give there so that Rochester can put a little bit together, but let's swing a little wide of this one. And with 1 minute to go, Rochester's got some work to do. And
they need to get 2 goals in the net if they want to push this into an overtime. That was a fun little demo on the side, Cargo Boom. That's my new favorite explanation. Throwing that out there.
That's layman's terms. That's exactly what it is there. Okay. Fruit coming in off the play. Ronicky gets the assist this time. Play it off the wall, off the bounce. Good deflection from the defense. Just could not get back in front in time. And was able to sneak it underneath the defenders. So Fruity able to get another one. 3-0. Things looking not too great for Rochester, but there have been crazier comebacks.
They did win the first game, though. So this is really just going to reset and, you know, take us down to a best of 3, essentially, because they'll be 1-1 at that point.
Which, if you're able to even that up, put a little pressure off.
Yeah. But it is, you know, this right now is just their chance to keep getting the measure of Team Liquid, figuring out how do they play, what can we do against them, what's really working, what movements are effective. And
this
see
one,
what they can bring out in the next round.
Pretty much, at this point, it's just a mental reset. Okay, you know, we took 1, or they took 2, so now we'll go back and we'll hit game 3, and ball's going to be on the ground. So that is going to be the conclusion of game number 2. Series now tied up, as you mentioned, 1-1. Team Liquid able to answer back with the 3-0 victory in that one. And a lot of shots. I mean, you look at the comparison on the scoreboard. There's 14 shots to 2 on the other side. Mm-hmm. And that's not where you want to be, you know, playing Rocket League. If you spend so much time on defense, you're not going to get any chance on offense whatsoever, because when you're pinned back like that, you can't get the boost. You cannot transition out of it. It's so hard. And a team like that is as good as Team Liquid is just going to punish you.
They were playing so aggressively. So in that first match, what you were talking about, where everyone was getting each other's measure and kind of trying to figure things out, we didn't see that aggression out of Liquid, and RIT took advantage of that, right? They got those goals. They had that beautiful overtime score to finish out everything, and then Liquid came in with a vengeance in game 2. I don't think RIT was prepared for that. Do you think that match helped them out, or do you think they're going to be a little scared now? Because their goaltending was incredible. I
Yeah.
would say now they really need to match that aggression and try and push things to Liquid's side. Do you think they're going to be able to do that, or do they need another game to kind of settle in?
I think this is now a point where it's going to be for Rochester, they have to be able to step up and, make their own pacing. It's a lot easier to play at the pacing of the other team, which kind of seems like that's what happened in game number 1. They were both kind of just matched pace and they were both content with it. And then in game 2, Team Liquid just said, I'm not going to do that anymore. We're going to set the pace and we're going to tell you to keep up. And it was just a thing that Rochester couldn't do. So I think now seeing what Liquid can do and the fact that they can play fast and aggressive, that is going to be a prime positioning now for Rochester to find their angle that they can try to answer back that pacing. But at the point, that was more of a statement there from Liquid to kind of force the hand of Rochester saying, okay, we made our move. We showed our hand. Your turn.
Mm-hmm. And we're back. So Liquid is blue once again. Rochester is back to being orange. If you stepped away for a second, we have switched colors yet again. Keep mixing things up, making sure that nobody gets too comfortable.
Keep us on our toes. Make sure that we are paying attention so that we know who we're watching here. But
now some of the cars in the game are different from each other. Is there any benefit to using different cars, or are they purely cosmetic?
That depends on who you ask. To me, it's all cosmetic, and I think it comes down to the player. I mean, some players have their preference of what things can do better over others, but I think at a point where you just find a loadout. I mean, it's like any other type of game, or in traditional racing. You find a loadout, you find the wedge adjustments and your tire pressure, or just something that fits for you and it works for you, and then you just make it work. And you get really good at that, and that's it. So to me, it's all on the player. But some players will tell you that the cars make a huge world of difference.
And there's a goal from Fruity. So 1 on the board for Team Liquid. Looking like they're settling into Ronicky being on the team and really working on that team play together. But, I think Rochester's still doing okay. They had some pretty good goaltending from what it looked like to me.
I mean, going a minute and a half there without giving up a goal at the point is a good start. They just couldn't get back on the defensive rotation in time, and Fruity was able to play it off the backboard, almost playing off the bounce again. Fruity looks like going to be the one that is going to be the high-speed aggressor, as he's going to be the one taking a lot of those shots. But to the point, as you mentioned, Rochester defense they're holding pretty solid here, only giving up that one here a couple minutes in, but they got to find a way to transition out of their defense and into the offensive front, which is the problem that currently they have seen. They haven't been able to do so as of yet, but looking for their first opportunity, at least a good stop, a good challenge there. I'll try to take the other way. Ronicky's looking for his angle, take the shot on, get his goal this match, but will not be allowed to do so this time around. Ball gets cleared out around to midfield. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning. You'll typically have a player that's right around the midfield point, just kind of waiting to see if it does get pushed out of your offensive zone. On the other side, what a shot from Bindo off the crossbar. Snuck it in.
I'm excited for this replay. This is,
wow.
I want to see this up and close. Look at that angle. Wow. Do you think he thought that was going to make it? Or was that a Hail Mary? Was that just a hope that it would go in?
Completely calculated. That's how they play that one. Yeah. And I mean, a great angle right there. And you saw a little bit off of the twist, with the jump off the wall, he was able to angle it down just enough that it was going to be on target. And the crossbar is doing a little bit of a favor for him there. So a great shot at that point, really hard to defend and made it a point. But on the other side, Ronicky's able to answer back. The ball just bouncing around a little too often in front of the net and just couldn't do anything to clear that ball out. So Ronicky, with an open goal, defense half a second late on the rotation, is going to take the lead now for Team Liquid.
All right, well, Ronicky once again proving his place in here. We're getting a little more ceiling driving. Also, I'd like to point that out. They gave me a little bit of ceiling shots to see there, right, bounced right off the ceiling. Thank you. Thank you, Team Liquid. That's what I was looking for. I want to see the full 3D ability of this game really showcased for everybody at home right now.
Yeah, and it's so much is to the point of, haven't even really see a lot of players that, they do the Spider-Man tactic, right? They'll just sit above the goal on the wall, and they'll just kind of hover there for a second, looking for the angle. Ronicky didn't make it all the way above, but was still able to play it off the bounce from the ceiling and send it back in with the boost. It's great positioning, great timing. His defense just couldn't get there in time.
That was a really great setup from what it looked like with that, high up in the air, getting the ball just above the goal, positioned perfectly for Ronicky to kind of, just slide it right into the corner.
That's one of the most sought after plays, really to try to play it either off the bounce from the ceiling or off the backboard right above the goal to get that double touch is the prime area that players really try to find their angles on, because they can, at that point, it becomes kind of like a penalty kick scenario where it's just you and the defense in front of you, and just try to get your redirection off to where the defense isn't going to go, or try to beat the defense to where they are aiming at. So the fact that Team Liquid's been able to do so very efficiently here, and again, Ronicky just at that point didn't even have to wait for anything, didn't have to play it off the bounce. That's just a pure ground play, one side to the next. And a great pass, and a great shot.
And that's 3 goals in this match for Ronicky. So, Team Liquid looking pretty happy with their pickup right now, I would say.
Yeah, they're looking very solid right now, looking to continue just to pour it on here. 4-1 lead now at this point, coming up on the 30-second mark. Rochester, and they showed signs of life there in the middle, but it seems like at this point they just cannot quite catch up to the momentum that Team Liquid has continued to set in the last couple of minutes of gameplay. So see what Rochester can do to potentially try to interrupt them. I would expect to see a little more brute force on the defense, just try to interrupt these passing lanes that Team Liquid are setting up exactly like that. Just go for the demolition, just try to bump them out of the way, and see what you can do here. Obviously,
for you?
Yeah. In this game, obviously, it's not gonna work. But your adjustments for the next game, what you have to do. Timer's on zeros, balls on the ground. Team Liquid, the 4-1 victory.
Well, and, we talked about how Rochester, they needed to be a little more aggressive, spend some more time on Team Liquid's side of the map. And I think we saw that happen.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't just, Rochester defense 24/7 in that game. It looked like they were more aggressive and had a better time putting it into Liquid's half.
Yeah, it looked a lot, for the first couple minutes, a lot like game number 1, where it was just some good back and forth play. The ball spent a decently fair amount of time on both sides of the field. And then once you hit that like three-minute mark, it was really just Team Liquid that just decided, we need to score more than the other guys. And then they did that. So a good adjustment there from Team Liquid to really step up the pace and get the shots on when they needed to. But Rochester, they know what they got to do. They found the recipe for success. They did it in game number 1. They did it for the first half of this game. They just got to keep doing that.
We're definitely seeing, so Ronicky scored 3 out of those 4 goals. He scored the first goal in the first match as well. So it looks like he might be our most forward aggressive player, right, with Fruity and Speed kind of backing him up. And I'm wondering if that's Bean, for Rochester. And I'm sorry, I know there's more to his name than Bean. I just want to say Bean.
I like Bean.
It.
Bean's a good, yeah.
Sorry, Bean. But we're sticking with it.
I think it's to a point, the offense of Rochester hasn't got the momentum and the flow that they want. So looking to see, what angles they're going to be able to find out of some transitional opportunities here. If they can play a ball out of the corner to send it over the middle, as Liquid is now in blue, Rochester in orange. But, if they're able to get something to play off and get a center just like that, being with the good center to the middle, just can't get the angle on the other side, the second touch potentially leading into the third one here. And you see some of that three-dimensional play coming in, play it off the wall. But they have the opportunities. They're on the right side of the field. They're doing the right thing here to put themselves in an opportunity. But with a triple commit like that, you leave your defense open, and Team Liquid's just going to punish you as they did.
And now what's popping up here? Is that a storm cloud? Is that like a really happy storm cloud?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy to score a goal too. There's different splash effects. Just you score a goal, you get a little bit of the custom flair that you can add, as well as the paint jobs and little effects you can add with your vehicles. Little extra custom flair for your personality.
Oh, and a nice goal there from Speed. That was. They've been holding that there. They had that. They had one shot that bounced, hit the crossbar, bounced straight down, and didn't go in. So they were hungry to sort of get some retribution for that.
Yeah, and another good setup. I mean, that's just the point of scrapping for the ball in the corner, and then you find the angle, the bounce that you want. But already 2 goals here for Liquid is a great start for them. Rochester, unfortunately, just haven't been in the position, and it's not that they've had any miscues per se, so much as the fact that Team Liquid is just capitalizing on small mistakes, which is 90% of what high-ranking Rocket League is. You just capitalize on the mistakes that the other team makes, and that's what Team Liquid has done so far, and looking to continue that. Fruity there with a good opportunity, get the shot on, scores the goal. Defense was just barely too late. It was able to creep across the line. It's enough of a bounce with a forward roll. Now a 3-0 lead. This is huge for Liquid.
Yeah, they've found their rhythm. And, something you said about high-ranked, high-level play, that is something to keep in mind, right? These players, when they're playing in ranked, they're probably all coming in around similar MMRs, might be running into each other. Liquid obviously is European, so unlikely they're playing the same server, but it is kind of funny to think about the fact that, they could all legitimately have been in a pub together as well.
Yeah, there's it becomes a familiarity with some of the players, as you make your way around, because that elite player pool is only so large. You start to run into some of these guys time and time again. Plus, you can set up practice matches and scrimmages and stuff so that you can improve your own gameplay. And to a point, that's almost what this is. It's just a scrimmage here for these guys so that they know kind of what they need to work on for the future, as well as the point of the fact that you're playing against a really good team here, and you're not going to get any better if you just keep playing the same people over and over again. You play someone like Team Liquid, and Josh coming out and saying that they can hold their own, get their first goal scored just over the halfway point.
Yeah, and that's so nice. Get them on the board, have a chance at coming back here, showing Team Liquid what they're made of.
See if they can get something. Ooh, Fruity there almost off that. And like I'd mentioned, the first 10 to 15 seconds off the kick are very dangerous because everyone's in the rotation to get into place. And this is just looking for the opportunity to get something very early on, but able to at least stop that one for now. So looking for more angles. Sunblaze here is putting a little pressure on, get the shot off. The follow-up there, missing just a little wide. Looks like a little bit of a challenge, but you see all 3 Team Liquid players chasing this ball over towards the midfield side. And the other point, trying to play it off the bounce here. Looks like a little bit of a miscommunication between Rochester, though, just not really knowing who's going to be going for the ball. And both of them kind of running into each other. Speed with a phenomenal redirect off the bottom of his car. Didn't even, basically, from the spectator point of view, that's a no-look goal. And that is impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's it? The cool guys don't look at explosions. I mean, there was an explosion in that goal,
yes.
So he's really trying to follow advice here. He just, wants to make sure he stays true to himself.
Great shot. Definitely one worthy of the highlight reel into the upper 90. But at this point now, 1.5 minutes to go. Rochester's back against the wall, looking for another one. Bean with opportunity on, but Fruit with the save, just a challenge there. And the ball at this point bouncing in the corner. Josh is in position to play off the pass, but couldn't get there in time. Ronicky with the save. Ball still in attacking position here for Rochester, but a good clear from Speed. And now with boost on, playing off the wall. That's going to be enough. The double commit there from Team Liquid. Both of them in the air looking for it after a good clear. Just put the ball in perfect position, either Fruity or Ronicky, one or the other. I think finish was going to be a guarantee, and it's 5.
I don't think we've seen Ronicky get a goal yet this game. They're like, all right, Mr. New Player, quit showing off. Let, Fruity and Speed score a little bit. Yeah, they're making him back up. They're making me look bad for saying he's the aggressive one. It's the caster curse. It's
exactly.
For anybody out there looking to cast or host or anything, if you say a player is going to do something, it is cursed, and it will go the opposite way just to make you look bad. The universe is against you.
99.9% of the time, a surefire guarantee that what you say will happen, won't happen. But
yeah. No, the caster curse is real. 20 seconds
Team
left.
Liquid's up
See if Rochester
2-1 in this series.
More?
There's no way that Rochester comes back in this.
No, but classic. We've seen an impressive showing from them.
Yeah. And they've had a good defensive stand, to the point of it's a lot to deal with, Team Liquid. The fact that they have been on the attack consistently and giving up only this amount. I mean, even in just a friendly little scrimmage match, giving up the 5 goals there. Granted, you've had closer games. You would have liked to have not had those opportunities, but there's a couple ones that aren't explicitly your fault. It's just a lack of rotation. You're half a second slow. The comms are just a little bit out of sync, and you factor in maybe potentially server differences as well. I mean, playing across the world is not easy on the ping by any means, and maybe your roommate's using all the Wi-Fi or something. I don't. There's 100 reasons you can come up with why they didn't play as well as they had really wanted to, but they still played a really solid matchup there against Team Liquid.
Yeah, that was a great game to both of those teams, and I want to say thank you to the players, right? Team Liquid, they are a professional team. We do have RLCS going on. They've got a new player.
Yeah.
And, they're most likely not going to be facing RIT in RLCS. And so this was really great of them to, take time out of their professional schedule, play an up and coming team, give these players the opportunity. And then Rochester, I mean, they gave us some real matches there. That defense was impressive. I'd say really well played to them.
I mean, at the end of the day, you come out of the series with a 3-1 loss, but it's still a win because you still learned something. You still were able to, you took game 1 off of Team Liquid, and that's something that you could say, yeah, we beat Team Liquid 1 game in a best of 5, but it was a good matchup, a good opportunities. As I mentioned, the Rocket League scene is huge on the East Coast in the New England area. I mean, there's so many teams out there, so many players in the Scholastic scene as well that really just they're creating these leagues at this point. And then you have, there's so many scholarships and different chances and opportunities that players are putting in to, kind of create more of an environment through Scholastic esports that is creating a sort of scene where these guys can't go. They can take something out of their playing career and move it on into a potential professional career playing whatever game that they want. And because it's not just as well, you talk about everyone wants to be a player. Everyone growing up wanted to be a football player or something. They always wanted to be Tom Brady throwing the ball in their backyard, because at this point, all these kids growing up are watching that level. That was before my time of watching football. I was trying to be somebody else. But that was, looking at this, now you have this opportunity where you don't just have to want to be a video game player. You can have so much more. There's so much more behind the scenes as well. As we saw there briefly with Rob, it was just a point of there's a huge amount behind the scenes. I mean, there's engineers, software designers, graphics operators, audio, TDs. There's just, and that's all just on like the small part of the production side. There's so much more that goes into the layers of creating and running a broadcast, regardless of what environment you're in. So the fact that this is in the Scholastic scene developing recognition for esports in general is phenomenal for this market.
Yeah, and that's, we think about when we're here, what SMPTE is doing. That's a big message that I do want to share. Are you out there? People watching. Are you a media professional or enthusiast? So technologists, who want to succeed, they join SMPTE to boost their career, discover the latest tech trends, make friends, they network. And right now you can join SMPTE as a fan. It's actually free if you join based on this link right now. So you visit go.simpte.org/fan to become a fan of SMPTE while it's still free. So that's go.smpte.org/fan. So I want to thank Trevor for joining us. I want to thank Rob and Carrie on the back end, making us look good, giving us some great Rocket League. Of course, Engine Media for putting all of this together, and the viewers. Really, every single time, this is what we do. This is our work. And having viewers out there who support these players, who come to events like this, who listen to, Trevor explain how Rocket League works to me, we appreciate you. So, Trevor, any closing words before we sign off?
Well, how am I supposed to follow that up? You give a shout out to everybody and say thanks to everyone. I'm like, well, yeah, what she said. No, I got to say thanks to everybody here for the opportunity. Shout out to Rochester and Team Liquid to come together, and shout out to Robin. I've had the luxury of working with him more than a few times now, and I always love coming on. He's a great guy to work with, a great organization here, and I had a blast. Love to see more.
Yep. Well, once again, thank you to the players from Team Liquid, from RIT. Thank you to everyone who joined us. We had a lot of fun. We hope you did too. So hopefully we will see you again soon with, who knows what awesome esports insights we might see you at next. Thanks for joining us.
Let's run away together. Just lead me into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together on our own. Just lead me into your world. Waiting for no one. We're headed straight up for the sun. They'll never notice. We'll take these cities on our own. And all I know is that we lost time. If we stay right here, we could free ourselves inside. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together. Just lead me into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together on our own. Just lead me into your world. Into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together on our own. Just lead me into your world. Sky blue eyes, I see a world behind them. No more time, sinking into the silence, reaching out for something you may never find, looking for a reason not to lose your mind. Feel like you're caught in a world you don't belong to, praying that you'll make it home. I know you're scared that the place you love is gone. Don't fear what you do not know. like you're caught in a world you don't belong to, praying that you'll make it home. I know you're scared that the place you love is gone. Don't fear what you do not know. Feel like you're caught in a world you don't belong to, praying that you'll make it home. I know you're scared that the place you love is gone. Don't fear what you do not know.
All I seek to find is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Following the lights of a world that's bright. In your eyes I see there's a place for me. All I seek